Hello Year 6 and happy Monday. Welcome to Monday's maths lesson. Hope that you all had a lovely weekend. The work that you sent in on Friday, as always, was amazing. You are doing a brilliant job with your algebra work. It was something new and you tackled it brilliantly, so well done. We're moving on to something else new today. We're going to be having a look at some measure. Before we do that, I've got something, as we have been doing every day, to get your brains warmed up, and it's thinking about multiplying and dividing by 10 and 100, and that will really help you today with your learning. So I've put a QR code onto a game if you've got another device to scan it on. If you haven't, you just need to go into Google and type in top marks bingo times or divide. When you do, it will bring this up. So this is what you need to be on, and then you can choose one of these. So times and divide by 10, that only goes up to 1,000, up to 10,000, or including some decimals. So you might want to start on one and move up when you have a couple of games. So all you have to do then is go on to here and then click on play. It will give you a multiplication or a division. So I've got 500 multiplied by 10 here, so that would be 5,000. And then you can click on next. So then 3,000 divided by 10, that would be 300. You can check your answer, click on next. So have a couple of games to get your brains warmed up. So you can pause the video now and have your games. Right, so you should have got your brain nicely warmed up on this Monday morning now. So we are going to move on to today's learning. So today's learning is, can I convert measurements? So you're going to be doing some converting, all using multiplying and dividing. Now listen really careful to this bit, because we are using 2 pages of our book today, but only completing certain sections. So on page 28 in the Year 6 book, we're going to complete section 1, and page 29, we are going to complete section 1 as well. So I will show you in the book. Year 6 book still, and it's this section on page 28. So this section, and then this section on page 29 here. And we're also going to be doing some working out together, so you're going to need your purple book for that. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start with converting distances. So we've got kilometres, metres, centimetres and millimetres, and it tells you how to convert them along the top here. So the arrows will help you. So if you look at this arrow here, if you're going from kilometres to metres, you would multiply by 1,000, because there's 1,000 metres in a kilometre. If you were going from metres to kilometres, you would divide by 1,000. So this chart will really help you today. So if you need to pause it at any point to look at that, then please do. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of them. So I've got here 305 centimetres, and I want to convert it into metres. So I'm going to go to my chart. So I'm going from centimetres to metres. So centimetres to metres, I've got to divide by 100. So I'm going to remind you how we do that. So when I'm dividing by 100, I've got to move 2 places to the right. So I will show you that. So I've got 305 divided by 100. So if you need to use your purple book and do a place value chart, that is fine. So I have got 305 and I've got to divide by 100. So that is moving 2 places to the right. It's making it smaller, okay? So I'm going this way. So I'm going to move my 5 into the tenths. My decimal point stays the same. The 0 goes into the ones column, and the 3 goes into the tens column. So I end up with 30.5. So I'll go back to my question. So that would be 30.5 metres. Okay, so I'm going to do a really similar one to that I would like you to have a go at in your purple book to see how you get on. So you've got to go from centimetres to metres, so dividing by 100, moving 2 places. So pause the video now and have a go just at this one here. Right, so we'll have a look at that one together. So I've got 512, so I'm going centimetres to metres. So centimetres to metres is dividing by 100. 512 this time. 512. The 2 goes into the tenths. My decimal point really important. So 51.2 is the answer that you should have got. Go back. So it's 51.2. Some of you might not need that chart. You might be able to see that without the chart, but if you do, that's absolutely fine. You can jot it down in your purple book. Right, so the next one I want to have a look at then is millimetres to centimetres. So I've got 4,285 millimetres and I've got to change that to centimetres. So I'm going from millimetres to centimetres. So this time I've got to divide by 10. Okay, so millimetres to centimetres, that way using that arrow is divide by 10. So just go and have a look at how many I've got to do. So I've got to do 4,285. This time I'm dividing by 10. I checked on my chart, so I'll put up so that you can see. So when I'm dividing by 10, zero is a hint, I move 1 place. So 1, 8 to the 1s, the 2 to the 10s, the 4 to the 100s. So it's 428.5. So I'll go back. So 428.5. So that would be 428.5 centimetres. So I've got another one, again, like that one for you to try in your purple book. So it's going from millimetres to centimetres, so I'm dividing by 10. So divide by 10. So pause the video now and have a little go at this one. So let's check it together. So we're dividing by 10. So 5,602. 5,602 divided by 10. So I'm moving 1 place again. So the 2 goes into the tenths. Don't forget the decimal point. 0. So 560.2 should have been your answer. Okay, so 560. Oh, that's the wrong one. 560.2 centimetres. Okay, so that is your millimetres to centimetres. So the next one then we are going to look at for your distance is metres to centimetres. So I'm going to go back to the chart. So I've got to go metres to centimetres. So when I'm going metres to centimetres, look, it's this way, this arrow. Metres to centimetres, I am multiplying by 100. So I'll go back to my question. Metres to centimetres is multiplied by 100. So back to my question. So metres to centimetres. So 285 metres to centimetres. So let's have a look. So multiplying by 100. Because there are 100 centimetres in a metre. So let's have a look. I've forgotten the number now. So 285 metres to centimetres. 285, and this time I'm multiplying by 100. So I've got to move 2 places. I'm going to need a tens of thousands. So 2 goes 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 5 goes 1, 2. Now I haven't finished just yet because look, if I just wrote this answer down, 285, That's still the same. I've made it 100 times bigger, so it must be a bigger number. So here, what do you think I need to put? Have a think. So I need to put my placeholders, don't I? Because I can't have the tens and the ones column empty when these three are full. So I need to put my placeholders in. So it would be 28,500. So I'll go back to my question. So 28,500 centimetres. So 28,500 centimetres. So I've got another one like that I would like you to pause the video and have a go at. So pause the video now and have a go at this one. 725 metres to centimetres. So remember, we are multiplying by 100. Okay, so let's have a look at it together to see how you did. So 725 multiplied by 100. So it's two places again. 725. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then make sure you put your placeholders in. So this time it's 72,500 centimetres. So 72,500 centimetres. So we've had a look at metres, centimetres and millimetres. Now the other part on section 1, on the first page that you are going to look at, is miles and kilometres. So we're going to have a look at that. That's a little bit more working out for this one. So to get from kilometres to miles, you have to multiply by 5, then divide your answer by 8. So that's always the case, a little bit like algebra. It doesn't matter what numbers are here or here, you always multiply by 5, then divide by 8. So we're going to have a look at one of these together, and then you're going to have a go at using this formula. Multiply by 5, divide by 8. So if I've got 24 kilometres, and I've got to go to miles, I need to follow this. So multiplying it by 5, then dividing my answer by 8. So I will show you what I would do. Now I would do a little short multiplication to do 24 multiplied by 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Okay, so that's my first bit. But now I need to do 120 divided by 8. So I can't do that, so I carry the 1 along. 8 into 12 is 1, with 4 left over. 8 into 40 is 5. So it would be 15 miles. Okay, so I took the 24, multiplied by 5, then divided my answer by 8. So I've got another one of those for you to have a go at. So kilometres to miles, remember, is multiply by 5, divide by 8. So multiply that by 5, get your answer, then divide it by 8. So I want you to pause the video now and have a go at this one. Right, I'm sure you did brilliantly. Let's go through it. So we've got 32 times by 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. And then I've got to divide that by 8. So I'm going to do 8. Move that off. Oops. Well, actually, I could use my times tables here. So 8 into 16 I know is 2. And then put my 0 back on. So it would be 20 miles. Okay, so we're going to have now, see how you did in your book. Now we're going to have now go it the other way. So this time we've got to go from miles to kilometres. So miles to kilometres, we do the opposite. So we multiply by 8 and then we divide our answer by 5. So we multiply by 8 and then divide our answer by 5. So I'm going to do 40 multiplied by 8. So I can do that one because I can knock off the 0. So 8 times 4 is 32. And put my 0 back on. And then I've got to divide that by 5. So I'm going to do a little bus stop here. I can't do that. 5 into 32 is 6. The 2 left over. So it would be 64 kilometres. Okay, so I've got another one of those like that for you to have a turn at. So another one of those for you to have a go at. So it's multiply by 8, divide by 5. So multiply by 8, divide by 5. So pause the video now and have a go at that one. Right, let's see how you did. So we've got 15 multiplied by 8. So you might want to do a little short multiplication. So 8 times 5 is 40. 1 times 8 is 8 plus 4 is 12. And then we've got to divide that by 5. 5's into 120. Can't do that one. 5's into 12 is 2. Carry the 2. So it would be 24 kilometres. So if you want to now, you can pause the video and you can have a go at section 1 on page 28. You might want to go back though and use this chart for going from kilometres to metres, centimetres and millimetres. So you might want to pause so that you've got that while you do those ones. And then you might want to go back and pause on this one to help you with your kilometres and metres. And then when you've had a go at that, we'll come back and have a look at kilograms and grams. So kilograms and grams then. So again, we are back to our multiplying and dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000 for these ones. So if you are going from kilograms to grams, so here's kilograms to grams, we've got to multiply by 1,000 because there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So we've got to do multiply by 1,000. So I'm going to look at this one with you. Now, if you look at this one, it's got a decimal point in. So be really careful. So I've got 4.372. So be really careful if you're using the place value chart. I've got 4.372. Let me just check I've copied that down right. So 4.372, and I've got to multiply by 1,000 because I'm changing it into grams. So because it's multiplied by 1,000, I've got to move it 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 4,372. So my answer would be 4,372 grams. You might notice a little pattern, okay, that might help you. So I'd like you now then to pause the video and have a go at this one. So you've got 9 points. Make sure you can see that decimal point really clearly. 502 to grams. So remember, we are multiplying by 1,000 to get from kilograms to grams. Right, so you should have had to go at that one now. So let's have a look at it together. So we've got 9.502. So 9.502. And I've got to multiply it by 1,000. So I'm moving 3 places. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And so it's 9,502 grams. So I'm going to write that down. So 9,502 502 grams. Right, finally, there's a couple of ones that are there to trick you. So this one then is 5 kilograms and 2 grams. Now remember, I told you that there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. Now it might be really tempting to just write, oh, I know what it is, it's 5,200, but it's not, because you've only got 2 grams. So this one then would be, so if I'm going from kilograms to grams, I am multiplying by 1,000, but this time you haven't got it written like that. Okay, because look at this one. This one's 9,502. This one would have been 5,200 because it's only 2 grams. It's not 200 grams. So this one then would be 5,000 because there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram and 2 grams. So be really careful with those ones. So I've got another one that's one that you have to be really careful with to have a look at. 7 kilograms and 20 grams. So you have a little think in your purple book. What do you think that would look like just as grams? So you've got 7 kilograms and 20 grams. Okay, have a little think. Right, so you should have 7 kilograms. So it would be 7,020. If I show you that on the place value, you would have 7,020 grams. Okay, because that's the same as 7.000, sorry, 00. Okay, so it's the same as 7.020 kilograms. So that, those two at the end, be really careful when you come to look at section 1 on page 29. Those are there to trip you up a little bit. So just be really careful. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's work from today. I know we've had a lot to look at, but what's really, really helpful to you is to go back and use these charts to help you to convert, especially with the distance ones. So have a good lesson at home and I will see you tomorrow.